Hey everyone, welcome to the video. In this one I'm going over the chalk plays for week 1 of the NFL season on Draftkings. And if you don't know what chalk means, it means who's really going to be the highest owned players at each position. So these aren't necessarily my favorite plays, these are just who I think is going to be the highest owned players, and then you can leverage that however you want to. Anyway, before we dive into this, if you guys could leave a like, and if you're new to the channel, please hit the subscribe button. It really helps me out, and I really appreciate that. And then you can hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on any of my new content. And if you're looking what's behind me, or I guess not really behind me, what else is on the screen, it is my NFL sheet. It's got pretty much every single thing you need on here to help yourself make lineups. It's got the player info, the matchup data, Vegas total, pace that they play at, the 2018 stats. It will be 2019 soon. Then we have the defense versus position, all that good stuff, everything you need to know. And then we have the game info, even the weather factors on there. Then I have projections and a ranking system on the side. I'll have a cheat sheet where it's got everything put in spot. I don't have anything on there right now, but this is what it'll look like. And then it'll pull all that together so it'll be all in one spot. And I can do tiered rankings, all that good stuff. It's all available on my Patreon. Each little thing's tweaked to a different degree depending on what position they are. So for wide receivers, we'll have the wide receiver and cornerback data, which is, I think, probably one of the most important things when it comes to NFL DFS, getting that wide receiver cornerback data, because a lot of people just look at overall pass defense, but if you can break it down for what receivers going against who, I think it can give you a really nice edge. So that's all available on there, and if you hit the link in the description below, take you to my Patreon, and then it's right there. The NFL package, $10 if you're interested. Don't sign up till September 1st. That's when it's like fully live, because if you sign up now, you're just going to get double charged in 2 days, and that just doesn't make sense. So September 1st is really your best bet if you are interested. And anyway, that's enough plugging. Let's get into DraftKings to see who I think is going to be the highest on players, and then we can leverage that however way we. All right, now that we're on DraftKings, let's go over the chalky quarterback plays. And I think number 1 is going to be very easily Kyler Murray, 5,600 versus Detroit. He's basically free going against a team at home where they struggled versus the quarterback position last year. And Kyler Murray is the new hotness of the NFL. He was the number 1 pick. And NFL DFS brings in the most casual players of any other sport. Everyone plays NFL DFS now. It's very, very popular. If you just look at the Millie Maker, it's got about 300,000 entries. So I do think Kyler Murray is going to be very popular, but it is for good reason. I mean, he rushes the ball a lot, so he's going to have that rushing upside, which gives you a nice floor in fantasy. That's the same reason why people like Lamar Jackson. But Kyler Murray, he can actually throw the ball too. Now, his supporting cast is not the best. His offensive line is horrendous, which is one of the main concerns. David Johnson's good, though, but his receiving core, it's not the best. It's not the worst either, but not the best. But even if he doesn't have a good day through the air, I think he can end up, making up for it on the ground. Maybe he gets a rushing touchdown. Maybe throws a touchdown. I think that would kill value at 5,600. He's going to be very popular. He's going to be the guy you want to plug in for your cash games, and I have no problem with it. Next guy I think who is going to be high owned is Jameis Winston at 6,600 going up against the 49ers who struggled through the air last season. Now, if you guys watch my other videos, I did my quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end breakdown videos. I love this Tampa Bay game. I think there's going to be a lot of points scored. It's going to be a close scoring game. The spread's only 1. It's being played in Tampa, 2 below average defenses, both offenses playing at a decently high pace. Bruce Arians is now in at Tampa Bay, so there's going to be a lot of throwing, going to be a lot of high volume for Jameis Winston, and they don't have a really good running back either, so they're going to throw the ball through the air. He's got plenty of good options in O.J. Howard, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin. I really don't see how Jameis Winston fails in this spot. Now, I know it is Jameis Winston, but everything's setting up for him to have a really good game, and he is quite a bit cheaper than Patrick Mahomes, and I honestly think Winston can he could possibly be the highest scoring quarterback of the entire slate. It would not surprise me. 300 yard game with 3 or 4 touchdowns would not surprise me. I think it's a fantastic matchup for him. All the signs are pointing to this being a great game for fantasy, and I would definitely want a piece of Jameis Winston if you want to spend up at the quarterback position. Now, if you really want to spend up, I think Patrick Mahomes is going to garner ownership just based off the fact he is Patrick Mahomes. Like I said, a lot of casual players play NFL DFS. What is the first thing they're going to want to do is they're going to want to plug in Patrick Mahomes. He won the NFL MVP last year. He threw 50 touchdowns. Why wouldn't you want to play Patrick Mahomes? Well, I'm not too excited about the matchup in Jacksonville. Tyreek Hill is going to be shadowed by Jalen Ramsey. You got AJ Boye on the other side. The only one that It's going to funnel a lot of targets to Travis Kelce, which I will say, I think Travis Kelce is a fine play. But I just don't think this is going to be a ceiling game for Patrick Mahomes. Now, if he comes out and throws 5 touchdowns, is anyone going to be surprised? No, but I don't think that's going to happen. I mean, obviously, he's a fantastic player. He's the best quarterback in the league. If you want to play him in GPPs, I think that's fine. But I do think he's going to have ownership, and I'd want to be underweight on him. Now, the next guy I think that's going to be high owned is Lamar Jackson at 6,000 versus Miami. Now, I am not a big Lamar Jackson fan, so just disclaimer. I'm a Browns fan, so that might be half the reason. But he's not the best thrower, but he's an elite runner. He can make it all up on the ground. He was rushing the ball so much last season. He's a fantastic runner. Miami is not a very good defense. The Ravens should win this game. I think Lamar Jackson would not surprise me if he ran the ball 10 to 15 times. He got 70 yards on the ground. He gets a touchdown. Maybe he gets one through the air. I think that's just fine at 6,000. I would say he's got one of the higher floors just because of that. So I don't mind if you want to go with Lamar Jackson. And then last guy I think that's going to have some ownership is Carson Wentz. He is 5,700 versus Washington. The Eagles should have their way with this team. Washington is just... I think they're going to be one of the worst teams in the NFL. They should roll. He's got plenty of options to throw to. He's got Zach Ertz, Dallas Goedert, Alshon Jeffrey. Looks like Deshaun Jackson's going to play even though his ring finger's all messed up. But at 5,700, you really don't need much to hit value here. He's got Miles Sanders out of the backfield. I think Carson Wentz is a fine play. He's really cheap, and he's only 100 more than Kyler Murray. And I do think he's going to be less owned than Kyler Murray, which might make Wentz a better GPP play. So now let's go to the running backs that are going to have some ownership. So first off, we got to talk about Dalvin Cook. I think he's going to be the highest owned running back by a ton this week. He is on an offense that's shifting towards a run-heavy scheme, and he draws a matchup versus Atlanta, who sucks versus the running back position. They were one of the worst in the league versus running back last season, and historically, past few seasons, they just allow a ton of receptions out of the backfield to the running back position. Dalvin Cook definitely has good hands. He's great in space. I love Dalvin Cook. He just busted a 85 or 75-yard touchdown in preseason. He looks fast. He's healthy. I'm going to lock him in my lineups. I think he's one of the best plays on the entire slate. He's going to have a ton of ownership, but I say we just eat it at 6,000. He's very underpriced. Next guy, Kerryon Johnson at 5,800. Now, thanks to Jason Moore of the Fantasy Footballers, that's going to put a lot of people on him. But, he's a great player. He's a great talent. I won't say he's an elite talent, but I think he's got really good talent. And he just draws a matchup versus the Arizona Cardinals, who absolutely suck versus the running back position. They allowed the most rushing yards per game by a ton last season. And, I don't see why Kerryon Johnson cannot hit value here at 5,800. Just a lot of things that can go for him. Riddick's gone. He should get a lot of more receptions. I think Kerryon Johnson's a fine option at 5,800. I think a lot of people are going to put Kerryon Johnson and Dalvin Cook in their lineups and then build around that, which obviously I think that's fine. And then Christian McCaffrey versus the Rams. Now, Cam Newton should be playing for week 1, so I wouldn't worry about that. But the thing about Christian McCaffrey in DFS is Draftkings is PPR, and he catches a ton of passes. The Rams struggled with pass-catching running backs last season. They struggled tackling in space. I think Christian McCaffrey is an excellent play if you want to spend up. I actually prefer him over Saquon Barkley, not because Saquon Barkley does not have the best matchup in the world. So let me talk about Saquon Barkley. I think he's going to garner ownership because he is Saquon Barkley. Obviously, I wouldn't say he's not the best back in the entire league. I mean, Zeke might give him a run for his money there and a couple of other guys, but he's obviously right up there. The thing is, though, he draws a tough matchup versus Dallas. They were very stiff against the run. And last season against Dallas, Barkley had a game where he had only 28 rushing yards. But the thing with Barkley is he's going to get a ton of work through the air. Odell Beckham is gone. Someone's going to have to catch the ball besides Evan Ingram. I don't think Sterling Shepard is going to ball out. Barkley's going to get a lot of targets. Should get a lot of receptions. And in that same game where he had 28 rushing yards versus the Giants, he had 14 receptions for like 85 yards. So, I mean, he's probably going to get you 20 points. It's not my favorite matchup in the world. I'd probably rather play McCaffrey or, another guy. But I think he's okay. He's going to have some ownership, so if you're going to be underweight on that, if you're scared of the matchup, I would understand why. Then Chris Carson going up against the Bengals. Now, this is one of my favorite plays of the entire week. It's just that the Bengals were so bad versus the run last season. They're really pretty much bad versus every position last season. But Chris Carson, a lot of buzz going about him. He's really rising in fantasy drafts right now. He's supposed to catch the ball more, and he's going to be the main guy for this team. And Chris Carson's a really good back. He's got good talent. He runs the ball hard, and the Seahawks like to do. They like to run the ball a ton. Chris Carson should get about 20 touches in this game. I think he's a fantastic play at 5,700. And then last guy I will say is David Johnson at 7,700. I think he's going to have some ownership. He's probably not going to be the highest owned guy in the world, but I honestly don't want to play him. Detroit got Snacks Harrison, who's a good run stopper. David Johnson's got a really bad offensive line. Not my favorite play in the world. Someone I'm probably not going to be putting in my lineups. And wide receiver, chalk guys, I think Chris Godwin is going to be the mega chalk guy. I would expect him to probably be over 50% owned in cash games, and I mean it's probably for a good reason. I said before, I love this game for fantasy purposes. Chris Godwin has a lot of buzz going for him. He's the hype man this season. Bruce Arians has been saying some crazy stuff like getting 100 receptions. He's playing the Larry Fitzgerald role. He's got good talent. He makes a ton of sense for me. I would lock him in your cash games. If I'm building a cash game lineup, I am starting with Chris Godwin and Dalvin Cook for my cash game lineups. Then Tyler Boyd versus Seattle. He is 5,800. And is it the best matchup in the world? Well, he's going up against Jamar Taylor in the slot, which really is not that bad. But the thing is, AJ Green's out. He's going to be the wide receiver 1. He's obviously going to get volume. The Bengals are 9-point underdogs in this game, so they're going to have to throw the ball. Tyler Boyd should be able to get there on volume alone. I think he's a fine play. He's going to be one of the heaviest owned guys in cash games. I don't mind it. And then we have Adam Thielen at 6,800 versus Atlanta. And Adam Thielen, he was on fire to start the season. He tailed off near the end. But Atlanta does struggle with the slot. Now he's going to play some outside too. But Adam Thielen has a really good matchup. It would not surprise me if he is one of the best receivers on the slate. Now he is 6,800, so he's a little bit expensive. But I think he's fine. He's going to get volume. Kirk Cousins loves throwing him the ball. I think Adam Thielen's fine. Then, the cheap highest owned guy, I think, is going to be Curtis Samuel at 4,200. He's one of the other guys that is getting a lot of hype. He does not need to do much to get value. He's got tremendous speed. He's great in space. Just one play could really make value for you at 4,200. And at tight end, the highest owned guy, I think, is going to be Hunter Henry. He is only 3,700, I believe. No, 3,900 going up against the Indianapolis Colts, who were terrible versus tight ends last season. They allowed the most points per game, but I know for a fact they allowed the most yards per game by quite a bit, by about 10 yards, which is kind of big when you look at it. When you look at the rest of the league, Hunter Henry, Antonio Gates is gone. Hunter Henry has talent. Melvin Gordon should be out of the. He's going to be out of the lineup because he's not going to be there. And that's obviously going to be at least a slight boost to Hunter Henry. He's the main tight end now. Finally, Antonio Gates is gone, like I already said. At 3,900, he does not need to do a lot to get value. It's a great matchup. I love Hunter Henry in cash games. He's going to be very high owned. Then we have Travis Kelce. He's all the way up top at 7,100. So with Jalen Ramsey shadowing Tyreek Hill, and obviously AJ Boye is going to probably go with Sammy Watkins. That's going to leave Travis Kelce alone. Now, the Jaguars were tough on tight ends last season, but it's Travis Kelce. He is a beast. He's the best tight end in the league, and he's one of the best pass catchers in the entire league, even if you put him in the wide receiver category. So I do like Travis Kelce a lot. Now, he is expensive, but there's a lot of value if you want to get up to Travis Kelce. He obviously has much more upside than Hunter Henry does. Kelce always has that potential for a 100-yard game with 3 touchdowns. So obviously like Travis Kelce, he's just really expensive. And then the next guy I think is going to be O.J. Howard at 5K. Like I've said before, I love this game for fantasy purposes. Now, O.J. Howard, he's got elite talent. I don't think he's going to have the highest volume in the world. Probably won't have the highest target share. But I think you can get there. The San Francisco 49ers were not the best defense in the world last season. Love this game for fantasy. I would not mind going with O.J. Howard. Then Evan Ingram, I think he's a fantastic play. He was really good without Odell on the field, and obviously Odell is gone. Someone's got to catch the ball besides Saquon Barkley for the New York Giants, and Evan Ingram is only 4,800. He's got speed. He's athletic, like a lot of tight ends. A lot of tight ends are stiff boards. They catch the ball and fall down like Jason Witten. But Evan Ingram, he can do good things when he gets the ball in space, so I like him a lot. I would actually have him as my second favorite tight end of the entire slate outside of Hunter Henry, just based off price. And then for the high-owned defenses, the Ravens are going to lead the way by far. They're the most expensive, but they draw a fantastic matchup versus the Miami Dolphins. I wish the Ravens were at home. Still doesn't scare me. They barely knew who was going to start at quarterback for week 1. They finally announced that it was going to be Ryan Fitzpatrick, I believe, a little bit ago. So Ravens should be able to force some turnovers. We know Ryan Fitzpatrick loves to chuck the ball. Should be a lot of turnovers. Hopefully a pick 6. Should rack up some stacks. Ravens added Earl Thomas. I think the Ravens are a no-brainer play if you can afford them. Eagles are in a good spot versus the Redskins. They're heavy favorites. It's one of the lowest implied totals of the slate against a team. Same with the Ravens. So I like the Eagles. Cowboys draw a great matchup versus the Giants. Not too scared of the Giants. The Browns, it could be a sack party for the Browns. Taylor Lewan's going to be out, so Myles Garrett should feast. We have Olivier Vernon on the other side, Sheldon Richardson, Larry Ogunjobi. Could be a sack party, which gives them a nice floor. You got some good corners out there like Denzel Ward, and then you got Greedy Williams and Terrence Mitchell, those kind of guys. And I guess I really wasn't really talking about high-owned defenses. I don't think the Browns are going to be that high-owned. So let's just jump down to the Seahawks. They're heavy favorites at home in front of the 12th man going up against the Bengals. Andy Dalton has looked awful. They're missing A.J. Green. They're missing some of their offensive line. I think the Seahawks are going to be a high-owned play. That's going to be a really good play at 3,100. Anyway, that's going to wrap this video up. Now, these weren't necessarily my favorite plays in the world. They were just who I think is going to be high-owned, and then you can leverage that with what you guys think, if you like the plays or not. So, say you don't like Kyler Murray and he's going to be the highest owned quarterback, I'd recommend being underweight on him. But if you really like Kyler Murray and he's going to be the highest owned quarterback, go all in on him if you really believe in him. Anyway, that's going to do it for this video. If you haven't already, check out my quarterback breakdown video, my running back breakdown, wide receiver breakdown, tight end breakdown. And if you want to sign up for the NFL Sheet, do that on September 1st. Going to be a lot of good stuff for that. That's in the link in the description below. And if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. It really helps me out. And also leave a like and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss out on my new content. I will see you guys in the next video.